her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, hi, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I don't know, I was trying to wing it there and giving us some bumper music and stuff as I did the intro on the... Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, hi, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I don't know, I was trying to wing it there and giving us some bumper music and stuff as I did the intro on the... What the hell's going on?
What is going on?
I don't know, folks, this is weird. I've got a kickback. We may be a little bit hamstrung here. What the hell's going on?
What is going on?
I don't know, folks. This is weird. I've got a kickback. We may be a little bit hamstrung. I don't know what's going on. I think it's TFR is having some technical difficulties tonight. I don't know why we're getting a kickback, but I suspect it's because we're... I don't know what's going on. I think TFR is having some technical difficulties tonight. Good God. I don't know why we're getting a kickback, but I suspect it's because we're... I got to look at this. What's going on? Ladies and gentlemen, just bear with us here because this is unusual. This is pretty unprecedented and hasn't happened for a long time. I got to look at this. What's going on? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying just turn down us here because this is unusual. This is pretty unprecedented. I got to turn down my own earphones, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm getting the sound back from the network. And, I'm trying. That's not going to work. Are you getting that as well, Don?
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Okay, and that, of course, is ladies and gentlemen, because I'm getting the sound back from the network. How you doing? That's not going to work. Are you getting that as well, Don?
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Okay, and that is...
Yep, that's the one.
Okay, so we're just going to go without headphones. How you doing?
Oh, wow.
Because we're getting a kickback from the network. And there's not much we can do. So okay, so we're going to go without headphones. Go old school. Wow. Because this is what my ears look like for those of you from the network. Probably never. There's not much we can do. Seen those before, but I do have them. So we're going to go. They work good, and I can generally hear just fine. But we're going to do it. My ears look because we're getting a lot of kickback from the network feed. Probably so notes before, but I do have them. I think in our work good, and I can generally just fine. But we're going to do it. I don't know if they have them because we're getting a lot of kickback from the network feed. Those of you on TFR, can you let me know in the chat room? Do you have echoes coming back at you at all? I don't know if they have them. If you would, Bam, let me know. Buzzachino, whoever's still there. Can you let me know in the chat room? Currently echoes coming back. Streaming on TFRlive.com. You would, Bam, let me know. Buzzachino, YouTubers. Still,
I blame Kev.
Currently streaming on TFRlive.com. You can kind of stir up trouble that way, but I think YouTube. I think that could answer.
I blame Kev.
Well. Yeah. Let me know. You messaged on Skype. Well, I didn't see it. Kind of stir up trouble that way, but I think that could answer. It says, and the sound is going in and out. I messaged on Skype. All right, so we may be in trouble here as far as being able to stream on YouTube as well. It says, and the sound is going in and out with the network. But let's see. Right, so we may have trouble here as far as being able to stream on YouTube as well
with vocals.
With the network, but let's see. TFR, so we may just do this stream on YouTube because I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to fix it. I know Kev said that the bumpers weren't working. TFR, so we may just do this stream. I'm sure that because I don't know what's going on. I will go into a rebroadcast or something. But said that the bumpers weren't working. I can't hear anything. I can't do anything. So I do. To those of you on TFR, you're welcome to join the live stream if you could. Broadcast. That's great. We'd love to see you over there. YouTube. Anything. I can't do anything. So to those of you on TFR, but you're welcome to join at this point if you could. In TFR. We'd love to see you over there, YouTube. The network, and it seems like my audio, for some reason, our audio is not working. But I can't on that connection. At this point, apologize. But it looks like that's our only option. So network, and it seems like my for some reason our audio is not and on that connect. I don't know what else to apologize. Do. So, but it looks like that's our only option. So log us off. All right, so we're going to continue with the show.
I don't know what else to.
But we do apologize for these technical difficulties. Those of you on TFR Live. So, all
right, so
there we go.
Continue with the show
live on YouTube.
But we do apologize for these technical difficulties. Those of you on TFR.
As we're getting into the swing here. There it goes. Okay, so it dropped. There it is. We are live on YouTube and underway here. So can you turn up my feed a little more? Thank you. Yep, perfect.
All right.
Maybe even a little loud, but that's okay. Whoa. Sorry, folks. It hasn't happened for a long time to us here on the show, but we used to be famous for these kind of troubles.
Yeah.
We could have technical difficulties like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know what happens sometimes. It's just there's ghosts in the machine.
What the hell?
I'm not even connected. Oh. That shouldn't be happening at all. I disconnected everything. Okay. There it is. You know what I did?
I have no idea.
You know what I did? I did a real rookie thing.
Did you recall back in?
I'm going to just a second here.
Wow.
All right. Lucky says she's gonna work on it on that end. It's weird. I don't know. There you go. I left the other feed on. Oops. And that's where the echo is coming from. So derp. I haven't listened that way for a long time, so that's probably where the error came from. But we'll wait and see what happens with Lucky working on the network end, and maybe she can get that dialed in for us. I sure hope so, because I love doing the shows in both places. I think that's powerful.
Really?
And awesome. But anyway.
Oh my.
It's just one of those nights, folks. I'm just so glad we didn't have some guest on tonight. Like tomorrow night we're gonna have Deb Varner on the show, ladies and gentlemen, and she does free psychic readings on the Paranormal Portal, and she's gonna be on the show tomorrow. So if you want to call in and be a part of that, you sure can. That's coming up tomorrow right here on YouTube, and it should be on TFR Live as well. So hopefully we can get into that and get that all sorted out. But yeah, it's just very strange. Very strange night, Don, right?
It is. It's been quite the day.
It has been, I suppose. I mean, my day up to this point has been largely uneventful, just a lot of tedium. But yeah, there you go. All right, folks. So without further ado, okay. All right, she says, try now.
Try now.
Let me do that. Let me get this all connected again. We're going to try to connect and see what happens here. Excuse me. All right, let me connect to TFR. All right, let's get that underway. All right, so it's checking, it's connecting. All right, we might be live. Are we live, ladies and gentlemen? Can you hear us on TFR? Sure hope so. I don't hear an echo, so we're on the right path. Looks like we are good, Don.
Sweet.
So I guess the best thing to do right away before anything else breaks is to do the news. The news, Don. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do the news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, notwithstanding all the weirdness that we've already experienced up to this point, we are live, and this is the Paranormal Portal News. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we're going to get right into this before something else goes sideways. Yeah. All right, I wanted to get to this first art. No, you know what? I'm going to skip this one. It's not as important. Now, this one strikes close to home, folks, and many times I've talked about this on the show, and this is really close to home, literally. And those of my family that may be listening, this should be quite interesting to you. And what I'm talking about is, let me close this weird ad that popped up. This is an article from unexplained-mysteries.com. It's $50,000 offered for proof of America's Nessie. All right, and this is a businessman in the U.S. is offering a large cash prize in exchange for proof of the lake monster known as Peppy. Peppy, ladies and gentlemen, the Loch Ness is not the only large body of water with a monster legend. Over in the United States, there are several similar fables, including that of Peppy, the monster of Lake Pepin, which sits on the Mississippi River and is bordered by both Wisconsin and Minnesota. Like the Loch Ness Monster, it is described as a large, long-necked creature, and it has been sighted by visitors and tourists alike for years. That's news to me. Now, Larry Nielsen, president of Lake City Tourism Bureau and owner of the 125-passenger paddle wheel boat, Pearl of the Lake, is offering a significant sum of money to anyone who can provide, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that the elusive lake monster actually exists. Nielsen himself is quite certain that it does, having witnessed it several years ago. All of a sudden, I saw a big wake out there against the current, he recalled. It was about 100 feet long and 1.5 feet high. So I started doing some research, and that's when I heard about Peppy. To claim the prize, wannabe monster hunters need to provide a clear photograph of the creature along with some form of biological sample that will be subject to the stringent DNA testing. The money will be paid out if the sample is found to have come from an unknown creature. Given that anyone who actually finds such proof will likely be able to make a lot more than $50,000 from the discovery. However, it seems unlikely that Nielsen will need to pay out anytime soon. You know, the person that started that whole push with a prize was the mayor. I don't know who's the mayor now of Lake City. That's Lake City, Minnesota, by the way. But he was also the owner of the hotel down there. So,
Right.
So it was a great way to drum up lots of tourism. And, you know, and I think the purse was like $100,000 or $1 million.
Wow.
Some exorbitant amount like that. So, you know, this is nothing to shake a stick at. Hell, you know, 50 grand would be awesome. But that's literally where I grew up, looking at these waters that you see on the
So
screen.
they weren't fish sacks. They may have been Pepe sacks. Wonderful.
They might have been. So there you go. Yeah, you got to watch out for the wayward fish sacks as you're hunting for Peppy. But
Well, there's certainly eggs in them.
well, they're seed of some kind anyway. But all right, so you'd never believe the things I saw floating by. You'd be out there. Lots of brown sharks. That's all I'm going to say.
G.I. Joe swimming in the water.
All right, so that's the first article tonight, folks. That was another reference to Eddie Murphy, Delirious. If you haven't seen it, you probably should. But maybe it's not even available anymore. All right. That's the first article tonight. I thought that would be fun because I figure my mom's out there listening. She must be so proud.
He's sorry, Mom.
I can't help it, Mom. I had technical difficulties. It threw me.
I'm surprised he's not blaming me.
Well, that's coming next.
Okay, all right. Keep me in line.
First,
Gotcha.
I got to claim temporary insanity. Then I can blame the long beard. All right, the next one is just a little information. If you're into some space tourism, well, you're in luck, but you better have deep pockets because you're going to need to dig deep for this one. And here you go. Unexplained-mysteries.com reports bidding for space tourism seat exceeds $2.8 million.
Wow.
For $2.8 million. Well, I suppose if you're a billionaire, I mean...
Well, you know, that's a lot of Pepes to find.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of Bitcoin to farm.
I wonder if we could find that many in a fish sack.
It's possible. It's possible, but are you in TFR? Excuse me. Could you be? Because
I can't. It won't let me in.
Oh, it won't let you in?
Oh, wait. Maybe I can. Maybe I can use Pages
Okay,
ID.
but Lucky says we're good to go, so
Okay,
that was
cool.
the last thing. Good. I'm glad we're sounding good, and I'm glad we're able to do both sides because I love doing both sides. This is TFR, of course, is our home. It's where we started. But anyway, bidders are hoping to win a seat aboard the first crewed flight of Blue Origin's new Shepard spacecraft.
Is that CRUDE, crude?
Crude. No,
EWED.
EWED.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know if I'd want to be on the maiden voyage of anything going to space.
No.
No, that just doesn't work out well. Generally, that's where you figure out what you got to fix for the next one. So how much would you have to pay to go to a trip to the edge of space? It's the edge of space, Don. So that just means they're going up there and saying, here's space. And then they go back down. You're not like going...
That's suborbital.
Well, yeah, probably.
Gosh.
But you can probably see whether the flat Earth is correct.
Yeah, I was going to say, ooh, look, the Earth has got curve.
Somebody bent our plate. How much would you pay to go on a trip to the edge of space? On July 20th of this year, 52 years after the launch of Apollo 11, Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin, will be launching for the first time 6 passengers in its crewed, CREWED, New Shepard suborbital spaceship. While most of the seats will be reserved for VIPs, one of them is still up for grabs for a price. Oh, that's why, because it's one. Until June 12th, interested parties had the opportunity to place their bids as part of a live auction that was already seen more than 5,200 bidders from 136 countries. If you want to get in on the action, however, you'll need some pretty big pockets. Hey, that's what I said. The current highest bidder is $2.8 million, and there's no sign that things will slow down anytime soon. When the New Shepard does take flight, it will offer passengers spectacular views of the curvature of the Earth from far above. It's just
so much for balloon lights.
Far above, as well as an ascent and descent that they will be unlikely to forget. Blue Origin is competing with Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic in the space tourism section, with both companies offering suborbital trips for a relatively low, albeit still expensive sum. As things stand, it looks as though Blue Origin is poised to get there first.
Wow.
Ooh, that's got to rub Mr. Branson a little rough.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Does that mean Amazon shipping's going to get better?
Yeah, they're just going to drop packages while they're up there.
Exactly, like Santa. Here you go.
Yep, it'll hit your chimney. You'll be good. There you go, folks. So if you want to go up in space, you just got to have deep pockets. That's all. Just like everything else. For that price, I think I'd wait for the 5th or 6th trip.
Oh, man.
I'm good.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'd choose to save a bunch.
So if you want to go, you got to go down to go up.
You got what?
Down in your pockets to go up in the space.
Okay.
Goodness.
That sounded like a whole different deal.
I blame Brent, Mom.
Don't believe him, Mom. You know the kind, loving boy I've always been. This corruption happened after here. That's all I'm going to say. All right, here's an interesting tidbit from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is Australia's oldest man credits a very unusual diet.
Guy.
Yeah. He doesn't look so great, though. He looks like whatever he's eating, he should probably quit. Australia's oldest ever man has explained how a particularly unusual diet has contributed to his longevity.
Yeah.
At 111 years old, and 124 days old, retired cattle rancher Dexter Kruger is not only the oldest man in Australia, but he's also the oldest man ever recorded in the entire history of the country. While many centenarians have attributed to healthy living and exercise for their extreme old age, Kruger has revealed that the secret to his success is a weekly helping of chicken brains.
Well,
there you go.
It's just a small bite.
Yeah. I don't know how many that means, but
so at least chicken or turkey brains would be even less.
Yeah.
A smaller bite.
Oh, is it really? They got smaller brains?
They're just stupid. They can't have brains.
They just got a stem that fires some nerves every once in a while. He detailed his penchant for this unusual delicacy during an interview with Australian Broadcasting Corporation at his rural nursing home in Queensland. Chicken brains, he said, chickens have a head, and in there's a brain. And they are delicious little things. There's only a little bite.
How does he cook them?
I don't know. His son, Greg, who is himself 74, attributed his father's simple life in the outback to his longevity. Kruger is one of a growing number of people to reach extreme old age in recent years. The oldest living human on Earth is currently Kane Tanaka of Japan, who is over 117 years old.
Wow.
Wow is right. There you go, folks. If you want to live a little long, I think it has a lot more to do with genetics than chicken brain, but, hey, that's cool. If that's what he believes, maybe there's something to it. I don't know.
It's got to be something in the thymus.
Thymus? Now you're getting all wordy on me, Don. I don't know. Your words are frightening and confusing me, Don.
Exsanguination.
Yeah. There was way too many sounds. I'm confused. All right. Let's continue. What do I got left? What do we got? We got one more.
Les, your grandma, she had a weird taste.
Huh?
Les says chicken brains aren't bad. Great grandma used to pan fry them.
Oh, cool. Well, there you go. I mean, hey.
Well, so you know the story about Mike the Headless Chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, so is that what happened to Mike?
Just a bad aim.
Yeah, he still had his cerebral cortex, his core, but it was gone. His brains was gone.
That poor thing.
You know, he choked to death. That's the fun part.
Oh, that's fun?
Yeah, he's got no beak. How'd he choke to death? Well,
I don't know. Well, they had to like stop her. They had to like feed him with a syringe or something. Yeah.
He must have
just a neck insertion.
Don't inhale.
What would you think if you were just taking care of chickens and one of them walked around? Yeah, it's just nerves, and then like 3 days later, it's still walking around. It's like, God, those are some nerves.
Boy, he's got some nerve.
Oh, he's got a lot of nerve, that guy. All right, so this is the last of our news articles tonight.
God.
And this one's kind of cool. I don't know. This one's a little freaky. There's a video that is included on this page, and I think it might be cool if you guys want to check it out. It's just some footage of the submersible going around. Again, unexplained-mysteries.com. Gigantic skeleton filmed on the ocean floor.
Wow.
Footage captured during an oil and gas expedition shows what looks like the remains of a truly enormous creature. The intriguing video, which is posted online by Deborah Hatswell of the BBR Investigations, was allegedly provided by a man who works with remote-operated vehicles on the ocean floor. Captured in the Mediterranean back in 2017, it shows something very unusual. Now, I must stress that this video was taken by professionals who work underwater in oceans all across the globe. Hatswell wrote, they know whale bones and come across them from time to time. The dimensions of the skeleton on the video does not fit with the usual size for any sea life in the area. A whale has 3 blades in its spinal bones, each spaced 120 degrees apart, and this creature seems to have only 2. Wow. The individual provided the footage also added, the bones could be very ancient because I've seen many clay amphora sticking out of the mud, and they have been there for potentially thousands of years. The bones were about 30 meters long and very large and look more like they belong to a serpent of some kind. Wow. So could this be some sort of undiscovered specimen of giant undersea creature? Wow. You can check out the footage for yourself. And I'll put...
Where was this found?
In the Mediterranean.
In the Mediterranean.
In 2017. So I'll put links to this article. There's a video you can check out for yourself. I will say that... the little cheat sheet that I can offer you, I have looked at the video, and they do use the submersible. It has a little claw on it, and they do use that to pick up. Yeah, they got a little robotic arm with a claw on it. Like those fun games where you try to ding the claw down.
Maybe I should have said the claw.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, they do use that to inspect the bones. They push one of the vertebrae and it rolls over. Wow. They use the little claw to grab another one and it basically disintegrates. So it is really old, whatever that is. It's not like, even though from the footage you can't really tell the age, but until they squish that bone, and then you can tell, oh my God, it's just like basically composed powder. Right. I mean, it hasn't quite fallen apart yet, but it looks like it's on the verge of it. So, pretty cool. You can check it out if you choose, but do it after the show because we're not done yet.
No.
However, that will conclude tonight's news.
Weird world news.
I haven't redone the titles yet, though.
Yeah, okay.
So for now, it's just the news. All right. All right, folks, that was a production of the Paranormal Portal News, which is going to be retitled sometime in the very near future. But it hasn't been yet, so that's what you're stuck with. So anyway, we got a lot more stuff to go through tonight. We're going to be hitting lots of stuff, but I do want to extend to all of you out there in listener land that we could be reached by the telephone. If you want to call in and share some experience of your own, you can do so by calling 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. So, Mom texted. Thanks, Don. You got me in trouble.
It's not my fault.
It is, too.
I told you. I told you we were going to get in trouble.
She's scolding me about fish sacks. All right, so Let's continue our journey here, ladies and gentlemen, as we dive into more of the paranormal that we love so. We love it so. All right, so first thing I'm gonna hit is, many times we talk on the show about the weirdness that makes up the amazingly strange place called Ohio. The whole state.
It's the absolute whole thing.
The whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, is just a cornucopia of weird and odd and spooky and crazy stuff. So I'm just here to tell you that of all the states in the United States, and maybe even across the world, it might be the most concentration of strange phenomena anywhere. I don't know what the hell it is about Ohio, but there's a lot of weird going on there. It's From the Shadows podcast is from there too. Might explain something.
There you go. Talk about strange and weird things.
Talking about strange things. No, they're great guys. Great guys. They were on the show. If you missed that episode, you can sure check it out. And I was on their show. We had a great time both times. We had a great discussion. So this is an article about some of the weird stuff that goes on or is reported in the state of Ohio. And it comes from the Columbus Navigator. I assume this is a newspaper of some kind. It looks, because it's
Columbus, Ohio.
Right. Yeah, I'm familiar.
From the center of the heart.
Yep.
The beating heart of Ohio.
Yep. This is it. And it says the 11 most bizarre mythical creatures from Ohio. And here you go. We're going to dive into 11 of these cryptids that are reported there. And so much more is reported there, but this is at least the cryptid part of it. It says Ohio can get creepy. Everyone has a story, something they saw in the woods or on the side of the road, something they just can't explain. I can't explain why their font is so small. I can change that, though. But what you may not know is that according to cryptozoologists, Ohio is a hotbed for creature activity. From Bigfoot-esque creatures to massive kidnapping reptiles to all other things that go bump in the night, the stories that come out of Ohio are some of the most unique, in the country. I'll just make up words as I read. Why not? If you're anything like myself, you have to admit a bit of skepticism about some of these creatures, but maybe that's how you feel until you see one for yourself. This means it may just be time to break out the headlamps and try to catch one of them in the act. Or not. Probably best to stay at home because it's Ohio and everything weird is there. In 1955, a man was traveling through Loveland, Ohio, when he saw 3 mysterious creatures. Of course, the story has many versions, so he either saw them near Branch Hill or over under a bridge on Little Miami River. The unnamed man claims that he saw these figures, which were about 3 to 4 feet tall, conversing with one another. The creatures had leathery skin and the faces of frogs. In addition to their amphibian attributes, they also had a wand that they waved over their heads, which naturally scared the passerby. The story of the Loveland frogmen have been repeated throughout the decades, with the most recent sighting taking place in 2016.
Wow.
A young couple was out playing Pokemon Go.
Sure, is that what they call it?
Did they catch him? Which Pokemon is that one? God, can you believe the graphics? when they claimed to see a giant frog-like creature that stood on 2 legs and walked towards them.
Wow.
Oof, that's got to be spooky. There's a video as well, but we're not going to worry about that. Got to catch them all, right? Ooh, They took my line.
Yep.
That's all right. They wrote it first. Have you ever seen the 3-toed footprints of Cuyahoga Valley National Park? You may have been hot on the trail of Ohio's legendary cryptids, the Grassman. Often referred to as the Eastern Bigfoot, the Grassman is reportedly a 7-foot-tall, 300-pound hominid.
Yeah, I know. Not 300 pounds.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. That's really not that much.
No, not at all.
According to famed cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman, the Ohio Grassman have more human-like appearance and are more human-looking and are shorter than the classic Bigfoot. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Now comes the Mothman. Yep, they got Mothman too. Wow. You just thought this is a full buffet. So it says, after the first sighting of the winged creature in 1966, an Ohio copy editor dubbed the mysterious creature the Mothman. Although typically associated with Point Pleasant, West Virginia, the Mothman was also active across the Ohio River in Gallipolis? I don't know, or Gallipolis? I don't know. Gallipolis, I'm sure. That sounds like a frog town, doesn't it? Ribbit, Gallipolis. Hundreds of Mothman sightings were reported in Ohio in the 1960s, but the mystery goes back centuries to the native Wyandot people that inhabited the Ohio River Valley. According to author Mark A. Hall, the Wyandots were plagued by giant flying bird-like creatures who would blend into the clouds and fog, destroying crops and plucking children from villages. Wow. Oh, that's horrible.
Wow.
Yet another Bigfoot-type creature that lurks in Ohio, this time near Minerva. The Minerva monster was first spotted by the Caton family, in the late 1970s when they followed the sound of their barking dogs to a pit on their property where they disposed of trash. Inside the pit, they found a massive 7-foot-tall, again, 300 pounds,
wow,
creature covered in fur staring at them as they approached.
I wonder if it's the same one we just read about.
Well, I'm betting they're probably related. Yeah. The creature returned to the covered in fur, staring at them as they approached. The creature returned to the family's property so often that it was witnessed by several other friends and family members who even investigated by the sheriff. During this creature's final appearance at the property, 2 creatures were spotted after the home was pelted with several rocks and the family was inside.
Wow.
Although sightings continued in nearby counties, none were as detailed as the Caton families, whose stories remained unchanged for decades. Cedar bog monsters next, folks. The Cedar bog monster is yet another example of Ohio's Bigfoot activity. When the Cedar bog was first opened as a nature preserve in 1942, Ohioans reported seeing a large ape-like creature in the area. After some teenagers went missing at the bog, the existence of the monster was solidified in the minds of the people. Shortly after, the bog was fenced in, reportedly to keep people from wandering into it and to keep deer and other wildlife from straying onto the road. But hardcore fans of cryptozoology think it was designed to keep the creature inside. Oof. There you go. Orange eyes.
What the hell is that?
I don't know, but it looks like it needs a haircut.
Wow.
Not to be confused with another monster in the area at Charles Mills Lake. Orange eyes is one of the more terror-inducing cryptids you can find in Ohio. Reported to be more than 11 feet tall, wow. Orange eyes lurks near Mansfield, Ohio, though he is said to have originated in Cleveland. Wow. The 1,000-pound hominid was spotted last in 1991 when it appeared to 2 fishermen in Mill Creek before retreating into the nearby woods. Some locals believe that Orange Eyes was actually an alien being due to the fact that a green beam and UFO were spotted in the area in the 70s. Whatever Orange Eyes was, it hasn't been seen in over 20 years.
Wow.
He went home.
Yeah, maybe.
Now we get the Charles Mills Lake Monster. Oof. Look at that picture.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's just a sketch.
Stitch the head back together.
It says AmericanMonsters.com, so the credit goes to them for the sketch. But more well known in the area is the Charles Mills Lake Monster. This mysterious cryptid has only been documented one time.
Wow.
In March of 1959, teenagers Denny Patterson, Wayne Armstrong, and Michael Lane were running amok near the shores of Charles Mills Lake when they saw something that terrified them. Out of the water came a 7-foot armless humanoid. The boys noted the creature had glowing green eyes. Bless you. Are you sneezing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. And a massive webbed feet. After the boys reported what they had seen, authorities searched the area, finding footprints that they thought resembled tracks that scuba and snorkel diving fins would leave behind. So then we got the Crosswick Monster. Around 20 miles north of the Loveland Frogmen's territory lies Crosswick. Although the monster hasn't been spotted in nearly 200 years, the legend of the Crosswick Monster is still told in the area. According to reports, 2 young boys were playing in the banks of a small creek when they were startled by a massive snake-like creature. Wow. The monster sprouted arms and snatched one of the boys, dragging him nearly 100 yards to a massive sycamore tree that was assumed to be its den. The Crosswick Monster dropped the child just outside a hole in the tree's bank. Okay? Excuse me. The 26-foot diameter tree was eventually chopped through by dozens of men from the town, and when the serpent creature reappeared The men noted that it was between 12 and 14 feet tall.
Wow.
The monster escaped the men, crashing through a fence before darting into a cavern. The full description read, it was described as being 30 to 40 feet long, 12 to 14 feet tall when erect, and 16 inches in diameter, and its legs 4 feet long. It is covered with scales like a lizard of black and white color, with large yellow spots, and its head is about 16 inches wide, with a long forked tongue and the mouth inside deep red. Although the Crosswick monster was never seen again, it is remembered as one of the most believable cryptid experiences in Ohio, and more than 60 men claim to have witnessed it.
Well, that's crazy though, because
Yeah.
that's like super long, super small around. Wow, that's kind of hard to believe.
Yeah.
30 to 40 feet long and 16 inches in diameter. That's not very big. That's like an earthworm. Like, wow.
Well, it's strong enough to drag a kid away.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is really creepy. Here's the Lake Erie monster. Bessie. We got Peppy, Bessie, Nessie, what is it? Ogopogo? Yeah. Yep. Let's see what it says about this Bessie. It says, what would the point of having a massive lake without a mysterious lake monster? Bessie, Lake Erie's own monster, was first spotted in 1793. Initially, she was said to be between 30 and 40 feet in length, but as time has gone on, Bessie's length has grown. In the 1990s, a reward was offered to anyone who could catch Bessie. Some theorized that Bessie's sightings could be attributed to massive sturgeon, who were once prevalent in Lake Erie, but locals insist that Bessie is real and most definitely is not a sturgeon.
Wow.
Wow. Wow is right.
Something smells kind of fishy.
So here's the Peninsula Python, which, you might as well have one of those in Ohio. The Peninsula Python may not be a true cryptid, but it deserved an honorable mention in this list nonetheless. The story goes that in 1944, a circus train car tipped, spilling exotic snakes into the countryside of Peninsula, Ohio. Though most were recaptured, one terrorized the town, a 20-foot python. Sightings of the massive snake were reported for weeks after its headline-grabbing escape. Swimming through creeks and stalking livestock, women and children were even advised to stay indoors to avoid the creature. And as the months passed by, the snake evaded the people of Peninsula, and when August approached, they assumed the upcoming winter would cause the snake to die. And to this day, the Peninsula Python is celebrated and remembered each year on Peninsula Python Day.
Yeah, it's got its own day.
It's got its own day. Wow. Next is the Dogman. Of course, they got to have Dogman.
Well, yeah.
Described as a werewolf-like creature, the Dogman has reportedly been seen all throughout Ohio, including our very own Franklin County. Eyewitnesses describe the Dogman creatures as between 4 to 6 feet tall, often very muscular with pink or gray skin. Never heard him described as pink.
Huh?
Have you?
Nope.
It is sometimes seen on all fours or walking bipedally. One of the most recent accounts was in 2016 in Allen County. The Dogman is typically associated with Michigan, but in the past decade, several sightings have taken place throughout Ohio, an understandable migration.
There you go.
There you go, folks. Wow. That's just a little peek
Craziness
into the craziness that is Columbus, or that is Ohio.
Wow.
And I don't know, Columbus might be crazy too. I've never been there that I know of. I don't remember being there, if I was. And that's not to mean that I would be impaired in any way, but just one of those things. All right, so we've got some other stuff to get through. Let's see, where are we at in their clock? Because I'm all skewed with the time.
We're already past the first break.
Okay, so we're past the first break.
Yep, heading towards the hour.
All right, so now we're going to visit an article that's going to talk about some strangeness, which is what we do here on the show, of course, but I got to keep an eye on the call board just in case too, but nobody's calling in, so we're good. This is from How and Wise. And this is kind of interesting. It's not necessarily paranormal. I'm sure it has very natural explanations for most of it, if not all of it, but it's just weird. It's not normal. And this is an article entitled, here goes, 10 Weird Things That Have Fallen from the Sky. We've all heard about, rains of toads and frogs and stuff. Sometimes even fish, but more crazy stuff has fallen from the sky than you might believe. And this is 10 weird things that have fallen from the sky. People of different countries have reported at all times about weird things that have fallen from the sky. Colored water poured from heaven, or some unexpected objects, or even animals. And we'll tell you about the 10 most unusual spots of rain that have fallen out in our time. One is silver and gold rain, Don.
Silver and gold.
Yep, that's what they're talking about.
Christmas time?
It may have been. I don't know. Let's see. It says, everyone dreams of money rain. Weird things, and it really does happen sometimes. On June 17th, 1940, in Russia, in the Nizhny Novgorod region near the village of Meschera, silver and gold coins of the 16th and 17th centuries sprang from the sky. Only about 1,000 pieces, it turned out, but that during a stormy rain, the treasure with coins was washed away, and a surging hurricane picked them up and, to the delight of local residents, threw them into the Meschera area. Wow. Could you imagine? Thousands of gold coins?
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. That's one hell of a rain. Here's frogs. In 2005, frogs fell from the sky in a village in Serbia. According to eyewitnesses, thousands of frogs came down from the sky along with the rain. An ecologist explained what happened. A strong whirlwind tightened the frogs by the lake or other pond and brought them all to the village, where they fell during the rain. This is a rare phenomenon known to science, but in 2009 it was reported that a shower of frogs in several cities in Japan, and in 2010, rain frog fell in Croatia. So I guess it's not really uncommon. It's very strange, though. I mean, what kind of randomness does that have to meet? You know? I mean, we're talking about a wind that would suddenly, or a surge of some kind that would just occur in the perfect place, corral the frogs all together,
right,
suck them up, and then deposit them, miles away. That's just very weird. I don't know. That's a lot of coincidences. Here's fruit hail. Fruit hail, Don.
Wow.
Yep. Don't worry. Nobody's going hungry. In 2011, residents of the English city of Coventry complained about the apple rain. Hundreds of fruits poured from the sky, and it was so unexpected and incomprehensible that everyone just froze. Wow, this is 2011.
Wow.
One of the eyewitnesses of the event said, fortunately, no one was hurt, although many cars were badly beaten. Meteorologists found the hurricane a culprit. Some Britons also saw carrots and cabbage heads among the apples.
Wow.
That's pretty, that'd have to hurt.
Yeah, especially the cabbage.
Right. You just hope you get a rotten one. All right, colored rains. Here's another weird thing. In the Indian state of Kerala in 2001, a blood red rain passed. It has been pouring for 2 whole months. The inhabitants were frightened and saw a bad sign. Colored. How do you say that? Colored dolored rain. Scientists hastened to reassure the population. Laboratory studies have shown that the rain has turned red to disputes of the local lichen.
What?
I think this is very translated. I mean, this is not, it's very weird English. In February 2015, orange snow fell in Russia in the Saratov region, and it turned out that the cyclone, which came from North Africa, brought particles of sand from the Sahara Desert.
Wow.
And in 2006, Colorado fell the pink snow. Eyewitness says that it smelled like watermelons.
Huh.
Wow. Yeesh. Okay, there's thrills and jackdaws. Those are the birds.
Yep.
Dropping dead birds from the sky is, of course, less surprising than marine life, but it all depends on the scale of such a rain. In Arkansas, on New Year's Eve in 2011, thousands of blackbirds fell from the sky. Local ornithologists came to the conclusion that flocks of thrush fell into a thundercloud, and a few days later, rain from the dead draws crow and 40. I don't even understand this English. This is terrible. Into the Swedish city of Falköping. The inhabitants then found about 10,000 dead birds in Sweden. So I don't know. That's a very broken description, but I'm doing the best I can. Earthworms, Don.
Yes, earthworms mentioned earlier.
In 2011, it was reported that earthworms fell from the sky in Scotland. They fell from the sky to the stadium of one of the schools where the physical training was just taking place. Teacher David Crichton was forced to interrupt the lesson and send the children to shelter. Those poor kids were probably so traumatized. Then the teacher and his pupils collected many worms to show them to colleagues and to scientists. Urban scientists put forward the idea that the worms were blown by the wind.
No.
I mean, they're usually, well, I suppose, but that day it was quiet and clear weather, so the explanation of the phenomena was not found.
Wow.
There was no storm, in other words. They just rained from the sky.
Maybe they're sky worms. Well, it is Scotland, you know. I mean.
That is Scotland, but I don't know that worms necessarily are found in the sky in Scotland. But I don't know how that could happen. I mean, it's not like they were blown up. They just fell from the sky in a clear day.
Raspberry says all the earthworms that rained down were all named Jim. Oh my!
I don't even know if I understand what you mean.
Earthworm Jim?
I got nothing.
It's a cartoon.
Okay, that's why I got nothing. All right, sardines. Here's sardines. Fish showers in Honduras occur annually at approximately the same time from May to July, and about the same place near the town of York. From the sky fell sardines, which were happily collected by the local residents. According to eyewitnesses, the phenomena begins at 5 or 6 in the evening. A black cloud looms over the earth, thunder roars, lightning flashes, and puddles fill with fish. Scientists have the explanation. Strong winds and tornadoes bring fish from the Atlantic Ocean. Since 1998, the annual Rainfall Festival has been held in York. Wow. There you go. Raining spiders in Argentina.
Oh, God, no.
These are the cute ones. I like these guys. These are those jumping spiders. They're adorable. I'm just saying. Residents of the Australian city of Goulburn in southern New South Wales were surprised and frightened by the unusual rain that took place in May 2015. Instead of precipitation, millions of spiders fell to the ground from the sky. The insects immediately set to work and wrapped the neighborhood with a blanket of cobwebs. Scientists say that this is a natural phenomenon. Usually arthropods scatter the wind on a very large area and no one notices it. However, this time the airflow delivered all the spiders to one place.
Good. We know next time just tell us where.
Yeah, let's get that spider forecasting going, huh?
Yeah.
We got a front of tarantulas coming in from the south. Looks like it's going to fall right on
those are better
Don's
than
house.
The huntsman's.
Yeah.
God, those things are raining BEKs. Go to the hot place. Oh my gosh.
Here's precipitation from space. Now this is not the normal kind of thing.
Is that blue rain?
I don't know.
Blue ice.
Yeah. It comes from urinals all over the place. But there are times when the wind has nothing to do with it. From the sky fall meteorites, debris of aircrafts, debris from space, debris. And since the fall of the first satellite in 1957, more than 20,000 objects from space have fallen to Earth. See, that's not what I thought they were going with here. The average of about 400 such debris per year. The last case occurred in the suburbs of Cheetah in April 2015. A mysterious object fell from the sky and exploded, frightening the eyewitnesses. After checking, it turned out it was a military vehicle and not a UFO, as local residents thought.
Now, it said military vehicle. It didn't say military...
It didn't say it was...
an airplane, or it just said
they just said vehicle, didn't they?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
There you go. All right, en route in Japan. Here's one from Japan. And this one's pretty funny. I did read this before the show. In 1997, a fishing trawler sank in the Sea of Japan. The rescued fishermen claimed that a cow fell from the sky.
What?
They say that the fishermen were then locked into a hospital, considering the incident as a mass psychosis. But everything turned out to be not so fantastic as we would like. And after 2 weeks, it turned out from where in the open sky this poor animal turned out to be. The pilots of one of the planes stole a cow to pamper themselves from time to time with steaks. But they did not consider one thing. When the plane took off, the cow got mad and began to destroy everything around. And because
they kicked him out.
Because of this, the pilots decided to simply throw it overboard. Oh, my God. That poor animal.
Oh, man.
It was just being a cow.
I was doing what cows do.
That's what cows do if you put them in planes and
oh man,
they expect to feed it some hay and it'd just be like Noah's Ark up there.
It's just doing its cat going, oh, this plane ride sucks, man.
I wonder if it had big rack and it was just killing the plane.
Yeah, big rack and killing the plane.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yep.
I don't know. But there you go, folks. 10 of the most weird things to fall from the sky. I don't know what you think about all that, but I think
wow.
I think that's pretty amazing.
Cowabunga.
Who said that?
Rachel.
Of course she did. Of course Rachel said that. She always gets it right. That's pretty amazing stuff. I don't know. I mean, you know, there is. So here's the thing. I think that cyclones are a great scapegoat for stuff like that. But I don't necessarily buy that everything that falls from the sky was just sucked up there by a tornado or something. Like the fall of sardines. It's like, right. How can that be so regular?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the sardines would have to be right at the surface at that very time, you know, and generally they maybe that's during their migration time. There's one old picture that's been around forever, and it's a black and white photo, and it might be even a little older than just black and white film. I think it's you know that kind of brown looking, it's like white and brown photos that are kind of way old.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like at the turn of the century.
Like tintypes and things like that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it may have been a photo from that era, but it may have been from the 50s. But it shows this big, it looks like an enormous tadpole in the water. And people are like, yeah, they believe this is a cryptid. And then, I was like, wow, that's really bizarre. And I just had it up on my head forever until I was watching, like, the Learning Channel or Animal Planet or something, and they talked about the way that sardines mate and they migrate, and they really do gather like that, and they look like these black blobs going through the water. Right. These enormous black blobs. So I'm like, oh, that's what that photo was. Gotcha. That must have been sardines that they captured just migrating, but they look like one enormous creature. It's just really crazy.
So I think I figured it out. I know why it's so regular. Sardine trailing. You know, they take the plane up there, and instead of chemtrails, they throw sardines out.
Sure. Why not? We'll go with that hypothesis.
Tourism, man. Tourism.
It's all about tourism. Did you say tourism?
Tourism, yes.
I'm just wonder what. I want to make sure I understood your inflection there. All right. So there you have it, folks. That's lots of weird things falling from the sky. Now,
no smoked oysters falling from the sky. Thanks, buddy. Nope.
Have you ever had smoked oysters?
Oh, I love smoked oysters, but not falling from the sky.
Oh, I don't know. As long as there's no shell involved, it might not be so bad. But
well, if they were canned, that would suck.
That would suck. That's a whole different animal at that point. All right. So since we don't have breaks tonight, we're probably going to have to take a break, though.
Yeah,
probably. Because we all have needs. And I don't know about you, but, my needs get to be pretty pressing. Anytime now, but not quite yet. We got according to the clock, we got about 4.5 minutes, 4-ish minutes, until what would be the halfway mark. Is that right? Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
We're almost up to 8, so 8 Pacific. So we are going to probably make up a break at that point. I don't know if anything else is working right, but I'm not expecting the bumpers to come in or anything like that due to the technical problems tonight. But hopefully that'll all get resolved real soon.
Wow.
I would like to say that if you're listening on TFR, iHeart, tune in to TalkStream Live, stick around, because after the portal comes Paisley Wild, the spaces between. And she told me what she's doing, but I can't remember the words she used.
I have no clue.
I know, and I talked to her earlier, and she told me, and I forgot. I forgot the title that she used, but anyway, it's going to be a great show, and it's one that you should definitely tune into, because it has a lot to do with the way we're brought up, and how that affects us in our lives.
Oh man,
and things. So
she doesn't want me on that show then. Wow,
you're so damaged. Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
I'm like stuck in the penny bins at Walmart. It's like, pick me.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I understand completely. So we're going to get into a lot more stuff yet here tonight, but I think I'm going to wait until we would hit that break. But Don,
yes,
what's the weirdest weather anomaly you've ever seen?
Nothing really. I mean, I used to live real close to like Mount St. Helens when that blew up.
You lived by there when it blew?
Yeah, I was like 100 miles from it.
Oh, could you see the whole?
I was 10. I could care less. I was riding my bike.
Really?
I didn't care.
A volcano blowing up, even at 10? I thought that'd be cool.
Nope, didn't care.
No? Did you guys get the ash?
Oh, yeah. Feet of it.
Did you?
Horrible,
oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah, because it got into carburetors, and
right.
I accidentally slid. I was power sliding on my bike and went down like a sack of poop. And just cut my knee all up. It was awesome.
Sack of poop.
Like, what is this?
You could have said potatoes. You went with poop.
I went with poop.
Oh, my God.
Honestly, nothing. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. Snow in Seattle is kind of an odd thing, but, articulated buses jackknifing off on I-5 when there's an inch of snow on the ground. Those are kind of weird, but that's pretty typical.
So, and where I grew up, and you guys saw that, just a little glimpse of it from that article, dealing with discovering Pepe and the $50,000 reward that's being offered. But we would have hatchings of these things. Regionally, we call them scoplotches, but a lot of people call them fish flies or mayflies, and they're not really true mayflies because true mayflies are pretty small. But these are born without a mouth, and they look like what a mayfly would look like. So if you want to know what they look like, just look up mayfly, and you'll get a picture of it. But except they're all gray; they're not green or any other color. But they hatch in such incredible amounts. Now we get them here too, but yeah, they land on the house here all the time. So there's not tons of them though. It's just small hatchings, but they would hatch so prevalently that on the high bridge that went over the Mississippi River up between Red Wing and Wisconsin,
right?
They would have to get out the plows, the snow plows, and plow these bugs off because it would be literally feet or several inches of just bugs.
Wow.
It's the most profoundly, incredibly bizarre thing. And I remember my first exposure to them was absolutely terrifying, but my family was camping and I'd never seen these things before. And I woke up in the morning and the tent was covered in them.
Oh, geez.
And we were camping somewhere around the lake, and I got so terrified. It was like, it got to be warmer. And finally I ran from the tent to the car, wound up all the windows and locked all the doors. And I sat in there and I was sweating profusely in 90-degree weather, but I was too terrified to do anything. And my mom was trying to get me out of the car, and I just wouldn't budge for the longest time. But craziness.
And they didn't have mouths?
No mouths. So they basically live underwater for a while, and then they hatch, and they live long enough to mate, and then they die.
What's the point?
Well, to make a new batch.
Of mouthless things.
Right. As far as I can tell, they're just some kind of food chain booster.
All right. Whatever.
So anyway, folks,
Protein.
we're gonna create a break right here, which should be our hour break. So those of you on TFR, I'm going to play a little sound clip as much as I can, but just bear with us. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes for more of the Paranormal Portal. Don't go away.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me, and their lies keep falling apart. just another fucking mask. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We just made it. Sorry to those of you on TFR iHeart, Tune In and Talk Stream Live for the little weird piece of music, but it's the only clip that I have that I can play that'll work to let you guys hear something. So I do apologize, but we're just improv in the break because it gets to be a long 2 hours to just do it on a solid roll. How you doing, Don? That good, huh?
Yeah, a little lighter.
Well, that's important. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to call in and be a part of tonight's show, you got something paranormal you want to share, then you can certainly do that here. We have a phone, we have a number, and we're going to give it to you right now. It's 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500 is the numbers right here for the Paranormal Portal. Are numbers to fun, numbers of fun, numbers for fun. Live them, learn them, know them. All right, so we have to get to some more of the strangeness that we've been covering. Here's one that I think should be pretty interesting. And we're going to dive into the whole UFO phenomenon a little bit here. So I hope you guys are ready because this should be good. All right, and this article comes from, oops, where is it? There it is. How and Wise is the site. howandwise.com, and it's NASA. Oops, Jesus. NASA scientists believes aliens have already visited Earth. It says an astronomer from NASA claims that aliens have probably already visited the Earth, but we simply don't know about it.
The Anastasi?
I don't know. Anastasi?
Anunnaki?
Anunnaku. Oh, okay. Because there is too much hype around the UFO, and in general, we're looking at for aliens in the universe, not on the Earth. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. We're not really looking here. Well, some people maybe, but NASA researcher Silvano Colombano, that's a pretty cool name. The biophysicist at New York University published a paper on new assumptions regarding the search for extraterrestrials life as part of the SETI project. It says the researcher stated that aliens had already visited the Earth, although in reality, the scientist only admits such an opportunity. And the very essence of his work consists of thinking about the way to change our approach to the search for extraterrestrial civilizations. Interesting. Well, there's a mothership right there. In fact, Colombano offers a new analysis of the famous Fermi paradox, the hypothesis which says that if there are alien civilizations in the universe, then why do we not see traces of their activity? But it approaches this issue quite radically. Aliens can be anywhere, said Colombano, because the universe is infinite. In the Kepler project alone, scientists have discovered more than 3,800 exoplanets. In some cases, we're talking about planetary systems that are more than 1 million years old, moreover, the age of the 11 billion years old. Why did I say one?
I don't know.
Ah, God. Sorry, folks. I'm reading like a kindergartner here. Actually, my kindergartner reads better than I do, I think. Moreover, the age of the solar system is only 4.5 billion years. What? there are more than 11 billion years old. We're talking about planetary systems that are more than 11 billion years old. Okay. Moreover, the age of the solar system is only 4.5 billion years. Okay. So ours is only 4.5. Okay. This means that some of the found exoplanets are 6 billion years older than our own home planet. All right, sorry, I'm reading it terribly, but I'll do better, I promise. Colombano claims that the awareness of this fact can fundamentally change our attitude towards the search for extraterrestrial life. In fact, Colombano points to the fact that technology on Earth is developing at such a fast pace that we cannot predict what will happen to our civilization in the next couple hundred years. Not to mention at least 6 million years. That's something, a point that I've made many times on this show. It's just like, what does a million years of technological development look like?
Right.
Especially, when you consider the last 50. How amazing is what, this transition or transformation of our society based on technology. What does a million look like? And that's just boggling the imagination. What could the Paleolithic people know about the wireless internet? And what were the ideas of ancient Egyptians about the speed of light? Yeah, I agree. So there are simple examples that illustrate the technological gap between the inhabitants of the same planet, which are shared by millennia. In other words, aliens can reach such an incredible path of technological prowess, which may simply not have an idea of just because we are too primitive level of development. Our misconception about aliens. Close. Based on this logic, Colombano proposes to ruthlessly question 4 assumptions, which are most often taken as the basis for the search of extraterrestrial life. Are interstellar flights impossible? At the modern level of understanding of physics and our universe, we are absolutely sure that nothing can move faster than the speed of light. But it is foolish to assume that for billions of years of evolution, a hypothetical alien civilization cannot open a way to move faster in space and or time. Radio, the main way of communication in the universe. The SETI project involves a search for radio waves, and most of our hypotheses about the search for aliens are somehow related to radio signals. Their absence for many is evidence of the absence of extraterrestrial civilizations. But what if the aliens are so ahead of us in development that they use other ways of communication that are still unknown to us? Perhaps they learned how to transmit radio signals of the type that we take for ordinary noise. And 3, life must be carbon-based. Life on Earth is based on molecules in the formation of which carbon plays a key role. In modern science, it's somehow assumed by default that it is in this way that life should be formed on other planets. However, somewhere in the universe, silicon may play the role of carbon, and somewhere carbon forms of life evolve and turn into something else. In both cases, the parameters are changing, which should correspond to the potential habitats of these civilizations. It is necessary to look for planets similar to Earth, Colombano concludes. Moreover, creatures that are the fruit of the evolution of non-carbon life forms can differ significantly from us in shape, size, life expectancy, etc. This in turn may mean other adaptability to interstellar flights, staying in space, etc. Nobody has flown to us yet. Colombano believes that it is impossible to say that aliens have not yet arrived on Earth. There are too many fake and obviously provocative statements, conspiracy theories, etc. about their arrival on Earth. Nevertheless, he is confident that all the researchers should find signals in these hassles. I don't know what that means. Nevertheless, he is confident that all the researchers should find signals in these hassles. Okay, anyway. So how do we find aliens? Colombano believes that having made such a shift in the consciousness, we can begin a more effective search for extraterrestrial life. To do this, one should not be afraid of speculative physics, although it should still be based on theories and evidence the scientist believes. In particular, it is necessary to boldly consider theories about space-time and energy. One should also be bolder in forecasts regarding the creation of artificial intelligence and the possibilities of merging biological life forms with machines.
That's not a good thing to say.
Colombano also offers to be more attentive to reports of various kinds of UFOs and not to cast them blindly. I think that's cool if people do pay more attention to that. The ideas presented in Colombano's work pose new questions. If aliens are extremely technologically advanced, does our search for them make sense at all? Does it make sense to look for signals from an alien civilization if it can be communications of a completely different level? Perhaps the main conclusion from Colombano's work should be the desire to stop the tantrum around the search for aliens. In general, it is worth focusing on the development of our own technologies and thinking more about the future of mankind.
I kind of agree.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a lot about this I agree with. I really agree that we have no idea if they utilized radio waves for anything.
Right.
You know, perhaps they figured out a different way to communicate, like through quantum entanglement, long ago, millions of years ago. And the radio waves would have long died out if they had ever used them at all.
Right.
I think that's a great assumption. I think the fact that they may not even be carbon-based is a great assumption as well, or at least a hypothesis to consider.
Right.
Knowing how little we know, how can we make any assertions about what's out there?
Well, so that's our great failing.
Right.
I mean, we make so many assumptions about what should be out there, what could be out there,
right,
that we don't give credence to what is in fact out there. Like you said, so they found, what are those little bear type,
Oh, those little, they look like little bears.
Yeah,
like worms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those little microscopic.
They
life.
live in space.
Yeah, they can live just fine in space.
Yeah. So who's to say? Well, but those are carbon based though. That's got there. But who knows? Maybe 1 trillion of them make up a being of some type somewhere.
A bean?
Yeah, a bean.
Why do you keep saying beans? So here's something I found was interesting, I did look at articles possibly for tonight's show about it, but I opted against it. But maybe I should have rethought that. I'm just trying to look now to see if I can find it. But essentially, there's some scientists that believe that octopus were never from here.
Right.
That they may have come, some of their basic life blocks might have come on meteors or meteorites or something that landed here and took shape as the octopuses that we have.
Right.
Now, I don't know because octopus and squid seem very similar, but maybe they're very, very different after all. I don't know. But it seems to me that they're very similar, and maybe they're both from the same kind of thing. But I think octopus's brains are much bigger.
They have like 2 or 3 brains.
Oh, well, there you go. They got a few of them, folks.
They got a couple, yeah.
Wow, what kind of deal would that be?
But and then squids ain't that smart. Octopus brains.
Right. No, I was talking more about the article.
Right. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, the octopus does not. They don't make sense.
Yeah, they don't. I mean,
the
fact that they can completely camouflage themselves is really cool, and apparently they're very, very, very intelligent. Like there's this video of this woman diver, and I've seen a couple of these. So more than one person has had this kind of experience, but they're diving around these reefs and stuff, checking it out, and they basically came across this little octopus living in something, and they spent time with it and found that it kind of like greeted them every time they came back. And then at one point, the woman in particular, she was diving and it kind of like pulled on her finger, and it's not a big octopus. It's only about the size of a softball or something, but it was kind of pulling her finger, and she figured it was trying to show her something or have her help it. And it brought her over to this rock, and it kept making motions to the rock, and she finally lifted the rock up, and the octopus shot under there and grabbed some food. That was some things it could eat.
Right.
So it was like, hey, come here. Can you lift this? Can you get this for me? And so that's incredibly intelligent.
Right.
I mean, that's an incredible display of intelligence. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they're not from here, because most of the things around here, and I don't know. I mean, but that's some pretty pretty comprehensive problem solving to say, well, I can't lift this, but that big bald person can, and bring her over, and she lifted the rock as it was making motions, like, here, lift this.
Right.
I thought that was so incredible. I was just blown away by that because, it denotes intelligence.
Right. Oh yeah.
So, and much like crows are very problem solving and can do things like that as well. And I don't know that they can, say, hey, come here and lift this, but it's very, very interesting that, we don't really understand a lot.
Right. Well, you got me off on octopuses. So it says octopuses, 9 brains.
9. A
central brain controls the nervous system. In addition, there are small brains in each of the 8 arms.
Wow.
A cluster of nerve cells that biologists say control movement. This allows the arms to work independently of each other, yet together towards the same goal.
Well, that's pretty cool.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's right. They have blue blood too. That's right. The giant octopuses have blue blood.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know where that article is. I was just kind of looking for it, but I can't seem to find it right now. But that, I didn't read the article either. I saw it and I was like, well, maybe we should go over this for the show, but I opted not to for whatever reason. But I think it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Anyway, there you have it. That's that. That's that article. Let me get back here and we'll get on to the next one. Did you have anything you wanted to read, Don?
Oh, sure.
Oh, you did you? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I got something. You want me to read something? I got something for you. I'll give you something.
Okay. Okay. All right. Other than anxiety.
Well, that might have been the problem the other day.
It might.
Anyhow, so okay, yeah. So you want to hear about some giant stuff?
Absolutely.
We haven't talked about giants in a long time.
No, we haven't.
I don't know why it popped in my head. I'm like, okay, let's do that. So, top 10 giant discoveries in North America.
Oh.
It says the Iroquois, the Osage, the the Hurons, and the Omahas, and many other North American Indians all speak of giant men who once lived and roamed in the territories of their forefathers. All over what is now the U.S. are traditions of ancient giants. Over 1,000 accounts of 7-foot and taller skeletons have been reported unearthed from ancient burial sites over a 200-year period in North America. Newspaper accounts, towns and county histories, letters, scientific journals, diaries, photos, and Smithsonian ethnology reports have all documented this. The skeletons have been reported from coast to coast with strange atomic anomalies such as double rows of teeth, jawbones so large they could fit over the face of the finder, and elongated skulls documented in virtually every state. The Smithsonian scientists identified at least 17 skeletons that stood over 7 feet tall in their annual reports, including one example that was 8 feet tall and a skull with a 36-inch circumference reported from Anna in Illinois in the Smithsonian Annual Report of 1873. An average human skull is about 20 inches in circumference. So 36 inches, that's 3 feet around the circumference of their head. That's crazy. The Smithsonian Institute is mentioned dozens more times as the recipient of the enormous skeletons across the entire United States. Go figure. The skeletons mentioned no longer seem to exist regardless of their actual size. And the remaining ones that were on display were removed and repatriated by the Native American Grave Protection and Reparations Act. While the authors certainly support the law, it does present a moral and ethical conundrum in the terms of trying to assent the proof everyone wants to see, the physical evidence of giants. In this unique top 10, we will look at some examples of giant skeletons that were reported from across the ancient North America, although we warn you that number 1 is so large we admit it may not be authentic. Our countdown begins with one of the most important mounds found in America, and quite possibly the world. The Serpent Mounds of Ohio. 7-foot tall giants. The Great Serpent Mound is 1,370 feet long prehistoric effigy mound located near Peebles, that have been thoroughly researched by Ross Hamilton, who has written exclusively about its mysteries and the giants discovered in the area. Recent radiocarbon analysis dates it to around 321 BC. This puts it in the realm of the Aegean civilization who were present in the area at this time. In 1890, Professor Frederick Ward Putnam excavated some of the mounds next to the Serpent Mound and found only 6-foot tall skeletons. But a postcard showing one 7 feet in height was recently rediscovered by researcher Jeffrey Wilson. It may have been one of those excavated by Putnam, as he was the only person to dig at the site. Ross first published this in his book, A Tradition of Giants, and it clearly states it was from the Serpent Mound on the postcard. And there is still debate as to whether this photo of a 7-foot skeleton was actually taken. Notice that the legs are cut off at the knees, so 7 foot, what we actually see, or is an estimation of with his lower legs and feet attached. Could it have been more like 8 feet tall if the shins and feet were intact?
Huh.
The Cryptids Mound in West Virginia, 1959. 7-foot 2-inch skeleton. In 1959, Dr. Donald Drago, a curator for the section of man at the Carnegie Museum, unearthed a 7-foot 2-inch skeleton during a complete excavation of the Cryptids Mound in northern West Virginia. Drago published the photos of an actual skeleton in his book, so there was no doubt it was authentic. Drago joins many other university-trained anthropologists and archaeologists who reported discovering skeletons over 7 feet in length in burial mounds, often with anatomical anomalies. Almost the same. A few of the professional reportings on these skeletons were Dr. Walter B. Jones, Moundsville, Alabama, 7'6" and many 7-footers. Dr. Forrest Clements, head of anthropology at the University of Oklahoma, 6 7-foot skeletons. Dr. Donald A. Kradzo, Cambridge University, 7 feet 5-inch skeleton found in Pittsburgh, with many other large skeletons with atomic anomalies. Wow, they're killing me tonight. So forth and so forth.
Does it say so forth and so forth?
Well, there's a whole long list of people who found an 8-foot skeleton considered the D. Okay. So yeah, they go through a couple specific people who found them in that area, and that was the area in northwest Virginia. So several there. Mounds in Iowa, 1897, a 7-foot 6-inch skeleton. This account from the Worthington Advance, November 18th, 1897, describes the ethnological work of the Smithsonian Institute's Division of the Eastern Mounds, and quoted the director of the Bureau of Ethnology at the time, Jonathan Wesley Powell. The image below, okay, unfortunately there's a picture. It says, it's a matter of official record that in digging through a mound in Iowa, the scientists found a skeleton of a giant who, judging from the actual measurement, must have stood 7 feet 6 inches tall when alive. The bones crumbled to dust when exposed to air. Steelville, Missouri, 1933, an 8-foot skeleton. As part of the Search for Lost Giants show, Jim and fellow researcher James Clary investigated the following account that had this heading. An ancient Ozark giant dug up near Steelville. Strange discovery made by a boy looking for arrowheads. Gives this Missouri town an absorbing mystery to ponder. He turned up a complete skeleton of an 8-foot giant. The grisly find was brought to Dr. R.C. Parker and stretched out to its enormous length in a hallway of his office, where it has since remained since starting the exhibit in Steelsville has ever had on public view. This is kind of an odd. These are excerpts from a news clipping.
Sure.
While reading through the microfilm at the Steelville Library, 3 reports of the find were uncovered, including a photo that shows Les Easton, a 6-foot-tall man, laid out next to the 8-foot skeleton in Dr. Parker's office. The Steelville Ledger reported that the skeleton was packed up and shipped to the Smithsonian.
Of course it was.
Never to be heard of again. That's exactly what it says.
Yeah, that's probably right.
6, the Miamisburg, Montgomery County, Ohio. It's an 8-foot, 1.5-inch skeleton. Miamisburg mound is believed to have been built by the Adena culture anywhere between 1000 and 200 BC.
Wow.
It is the largest conical burial mound in Ohio, once nearly 70 feet tall, the height of a 7-story building, and 877 feet in circumference. Hugh investigated the site in September of 2012, and after taking some researchers to the local historical society, he found that there were other skeletal remains reported in the nearby area. Numerous skeleton remains were uncovered from the mound, including a giant jawbone and a bone of unusual size. But it was a discovery a half-mile away that became national sensation and was reported in the Middletown Signal, January 17, 1899, with the headline, "Bones of Prehistoric Giants Found Near Miamisburg."
Wow.
The skeleton of a giant found near Miamisburg is the cause of much discussion, not only amongst the curious and illiterate, but among the learned scientists of the world.
Not only among people that can't read.
Yeah, those little peons. You peons. The body of a man more gigantic than any ever recorded in history has been found in the Miami Valley in Ohio. The skeleton is calculated must have belonged to a man 8 feet 1.5 inches in height.
Oh.
Professor Thomas Wilson, curator of the prehistoric anthropology, bleh. Well, I can't talk today. At the Smithsonian Institute, said the following after examining the find: the authenticity of a skull is beyond any doubt. Its antiquity unquestionably great. To my own personal knowledge, several such crania were discovered in Hopewell group of the mounds in Ohio.
Wow.
The jaws were prognathous, projecting beyond the face, and the facial index remarkably low. So, wow.
Very well.
The San Diego giant in 1895, 8-foot 4-inch mummy. This fascinating discovery reports on a giant mummy found in San Diego, which is currently believed to be a hoax. However, let's take a closer look, as there is some intrigue and inconsistency in this popular story. This first report appeared in 1895 with the subheadings 9 feet high and probably a California Indian, measurements well authenticated, other big men and women of fact and fable who are famous types of gigantism. When accurately measured, it turned out to be 8 foot 4 inches and was carefully inspected and measured by Professor Thomas Wilson, curator of the Department of Prehistoric Anthropology in the Smithsonian Institute, and by other scientists. 13 years later, in 1908, when the mummy was being exhibited, the Smithsonian ran some tests and suddenly dismissed it as a hoax, saying that it was made from gelatin. You know gelatin's made from pigs?
Yeah.
Anyhow.
I did.
Yeah. The fact that it took so long, and after spending $500 to acquire it, plus the fact that it was carefully inspected by experts 13 years earlier, does suggest that there may be more to this story than meets the eye. Interestingly, another person with a name that I can't pronounce, I'm not going to try it. It looks quite Icelandic, possibly, joined the Smithsonian in 1903, right in between the discovery and the final debunking. He was not interested in giants and made a concerted effort to eradicate them from the historical record. It is also interesting to note that the doctor of prehistoric anthropology, Thomas Wilson, and the ethnologist in charge, W.J. McGee, were both involved in the story and were obviously keen to make sure the Smithsonian got it back to their headquarters at immense cost. $500 in 1895 equates to about $14,285 today. But why would they bother doing it if it was simply a sideshow hoax? The strange twists and the Smithsonian's involvement and the immense amount of money spent on this makes it worthy of inclusion in this top 10. A similar mummified giant also turned up in Spiro Mountains, Oklahoma. It measured 8.5 inches, or 8 feet 5 inches, and was on display for a few months, where it was seen by several people before it disappeared. Wow. Catalina Island, California, 9-foot 2-inch skeleton, and other 7-foot and 8-foot examples. The Channel Islands off the coast of California have turned up numerous oversized skeletons. The story is intriguing and controversial, and it stars amateur archaeologist Ralph Glidden and his bizarre museum. But before the main act, a German naturalist got the story going in 1913. Dr. A.W. Frutzen reported unearthing an 8-foot-tall skeleton with artifacts such as mortars, pestles, and arrowheads on Catalina. He was told of a legend while in Mexico of a giant and noble race that lived on the island, who existed long before white man and has since vanished. Amateur archaeologist Ralph Glidden unearthed and collected a total of 3,781 skeletons on the Channel Islands between 1919 and 1930. Working for the Hay Foundation of New York, he unearthed a 9-foot 2-inch skeleton and several measuring over 7 feet.
Wow.
A skeleton of a young girl, evidently of high rank, within a large funeral urn, was surrounded by those of 64 children in various parts of the island, and more than 3,000 other skeletons were found, practically all males averaging around 7 foot in height. One being was 7 foot 8 inches from the top of his head to the ankle.
Wow.
And another being 9 foot 2 inches tall. So just to the ankles. That doesn't even count the feet. So that's another 2 or 3 inches.
Or more, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As part of the search for lost giants, Jim and Bill Vieira, who I loved when they had that show, visited Catalina to investigate the contents of the box. And indeed, there were photos of hundreds of skeletons and skulls, excavations, thank you, artifacts and burials. They also uncovered an account of a 28-inch femur unearthed by Glidden in San Nicolas Island, reported by the judge of Avalon, Ernest Wintle, that would make the skeleton over 8 foot tall.
Wow.
Beaver Lake Ozark Mountains, Arkansas, 1913. Nearly 10-foot skeleton and huge skulls. This account from the Ozark Caves in Arkansas is found in the New Age magazine, volume 18 of 1913, was given by a highly regarded reporter, Victor Schoffelmeyer. During the filming of The Search for Lost Giants, the site of the cave was investigated. It had been flooded with the damming and the creation of Beaver Lake between 1960 and 1966. Bill Vieira and professional scuba diver Mike Young dived into the lake and found a huge shelter cave believed to be the site of the skeletal remains. While a 70-foot stone wall was found at the entrance of the cave, showing likely human habitation, no more clues were forthcoming. Text from the original article reads as follows. While the historical features of the Ozarks held our attention, by far the most fascinating discovery was one made by an aged recluse and naturalist who for 10 years had lived in the shelter cave near where we camped. Dad Riggins spent much of his time digging in the ashes which form the floor of many of the caves. At a depth of more than 3 feet, he found the remains of several giant human skeletons, including an almost perfect skull which differed in many particulars from a modern specimen. When partially joined, the largest skeleton was almost 10 feet tall. Dad Riggins showed us hieroglyphics covering the palisades. thought to be thousands of years old.
That's incredible.
You know, Jim and Bill Vieira, their show was, wow, I was enthralled. Number 2, Lompoc Rancho, California, 1819, 12-foot skeleton. In 1819, an old lady saw a gigantic skeleton dug up by soldiers at Prisima on Lompoc Rancho. The natives deemed it a god, and it was reburied and directed by the direction of a padre. This short report reemerged with a broader range of details in 1833, and now the various authors and websites repeat the same story. It goes something like this. Soldiers digging a pit for a powder magazine at Lompoc Rancho, California, hacked their way through a layer of cemented gravel and found a 12-foot sarcophagus. The skeleton of a giant man, about 12 feet tall, was found inside. The grave was surrounded by carved shells, huge stone axes, 2 spears, and thin sheets of porphyry, which is a purple mineral with quartz, covering the skeleton. These were covered with unintelligible symbols. He had a double row of teeth, both upper and lower. The soldiers consulted a local tribe of Indians who, after going into a trance, exclaimed that they were geographically displaced Algiwi Indians from the Ohio Valley area. When the natives began to attach some religious significance to the find, authorities ordered the skeleton and all of the artifacts secretly reburied.
Ohio.
Yeah, exactly.
Go figure.
No further information is available, so it's impossible to verify this information, but numerous other skeletons of this height have been reported in such newspapers as the New York Times. 2 further 12-foot examples have been reported in Jeffersonville, Kentucky, May 22nd of 1871, and in Bernard, Missouri, September 13th, 1883. Furthermore, a 13-foot example was said to have been unearthed in Janesville, Wisconsin, in August 25th, 1870. And even bones that were estimated to be from a skeleton of a 14-foot tall Etowah Mountains in April 5th, 1886. These are all well out of the normal range for humans, but are worth noting here since these immense sizes pop up again and again in well-respected newspapers.
Yeah.
So number 1, West Hickory, Pennsylvania, 1870, 18-foot skeleton.
18.
The headline of this chart topper reads, Cardiff Giant Outdone, alleged discovery of a giant in the oil regions. This report originally came from Oil City Times in 1870, and underneath the immense armor, it was revealed some startling atomic oddities, and a skeleton that reached a staggering height, the tallest example we've ever come across. These are some excerpts. They exhumed an enormous helmet of iron, which was corroded with rust. Further digging brought to light a sword which measured 9 feet in length. The report continues, as a well-preserved skeleton of an enormous giant, the bones of a skeleton were remarkably white. The teeth were in all the right places, and all of them double and of extraordinary size. It was estimated to be 18 feet tall, and the bones were prepared to be sent to New York. Clearly, however, this could be an exaggeration, as 18 foot is unheard of in the historical records. But the matter-of-fact description is intriguing, and interestingly, the discovery was reported to be buried 12 feet below a mound, so it could suggest deep antiquity, however tall he was.
Wow.
So, there you go. The rest is just wrap-up, so we'll just leave it at that. But it talks about the genesis of North American giants shrouded in mystery and all this other stuff. But, you know, I loved watching Bill and Jim Vieira's show. I just loved it. And that's where I really get hooked into giants.
Here's a chart that seems to go over. It's from Tierra de Giga, I don't know, and T's. But it's a chart, and I'm showing those of you on YouTube that you can see this, but it shows a 6-foot human on the left here. where I'm circling with my mouth, and then my mouse, and all the way to 36-foot giant allegedly found in Carthage, Carthagos, but it was found AC, so I don't know, 200 to 600 AC, whatever that is. But anyway, that's pretty crazy when you look at this chart. If there were all these big people. Now, somebody in the chat did say, hey, Robert Wadlow was measured at 8 foot 11 inches.
That's right.
And that's a huge, huge, huge guy. And I had a photo up of him, and it shows him next to somebody. I don't know who he's standing next to.
An average person.
Yeah, probably. Here's Robert Wadlow, and there's a picture of him next to an average-sized person, and you can see.
Oh, that's his father. Yeah.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
He's almost 6 feet tall.
Yeah, measuring 5 feet 11 and a half inches.
Yep.
So this is 5 foot 11 and a half, and he comes up to about the belly button on Wadlow. So this is like Bigfoot area. This would be like what it would be, except a lot broader, a lot stronger. But I mean, so the other thing I wanted to point out was that our good friend Nace has talked about his ancestors, God, that name was right in my head a second ago. What is his Native American heritage?
Naysayers?
Yeah.
Ojibwe. No.
Well, but that's the Americanized version. But I'm trying to think. It's like Anna something. God, I can't believe
it's amazing that we've forgotten. We're sorry, Naysay.
I didn't forget, though. The thing is, I just thought of it just a couple minutes ago. It's like, oh, yeah, I got to talk about that. But his ancestors were legendarily 7 foot average, is what he's told us on the show. And that's incredible. And so that could be part of what they're finding in these burial mounds is these ancient native burials of these incredibly sized ancestors of our First Nations. And that's pretty incredible. Pretty cool. Anishinaabe, thank you. God, I can't believe that was gone. And it was just right in my head. That's just how my head works anymore. But the Anishinaabe. So, Robert Wadlow. Huge. And somebody did wonder about the double rows of teeth, but you did cover that in one of those that you read. So, and that is, long attributed to the giants, the true giants, as in the red, fiery-haired, like what is those, the caverns? What was the caverns? I can't remember anything today. My God, my head is just cooked. Sorry, folks. My brain usually works better than this, but we're down to about 13 minutes left of the show, and we're just going to hot pass it over to Paisley. What? Oh, we got a phone call. We got a couple phone calls. Here's the first one, and this is area code 914. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hi. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for letting me on. I was actually going to say something about the giants.
Please.
Obviously we have we understand that the chromosome exists or that, it's a kind of issue with the pituitary gland.
Yes.
And one of the things about the disorder is that you will keep growing unless something kicks in the pituitary gland. So if the people survive, I guess if they're on an island, right?
Right.
And if they breed with one another and everybody has the same condition, for example, and some of them survive, to reproduce.
Right.
Then those, the higher survival rate, and then they're going to grow taller. So that's just kind of like a weird thing I thought about.
That's a good point.
I was actually calling.
Go ahead.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I said that's a good point. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, I was actually, interested, and I wanted to talk about the alien thing that you guys had mentioned.
Yes, by all means.
Well, I actually I used to live in Buchanan, and in Buchanan there's a nuclear power plant.
Okay.
And I'm a that spent her entire life outdoors. I'm a woodland type of person. I used to camp. I literally lived just mostly outdoors for from 17 to 24 years old.
Wow.
Okay. So this is a thing that I'm comfortable with. And when I tried to kind of recreate that in this area, I could not. I mean, I remember taking a video, and a couple photos on my cell phone of a craft that was so large it literally blocked out nearly every star in the sky.
Oh my God.
And it was a triangle, 3 points, right? I took photos and I took videos, and my husband took photos and my husband took videos. And I'm not kidding. 2 hours later, we look at her phone, no videos, nothing, literally nothing is saved from that day. Everything else is fine.
Oh my God.
So so when you're saying that, they might have technology, guarantee you it's pretty easy to break into our technology.
Oh yeah.
For a group of, entities that can create a giant ship in the middle of the night, and it wasn't flying very high. I actually, flew several Cessnas, and I mean, literally it was, ridiculously, it was in like Cessna level. So it's, that would be between like 7,000 feet and 1,400 feet.
Okay.
14,000 feet.
Wow.
So it was low to the ground.
Yeah.
In addition to that, silent. I mean, silent as silent gets. And I've seen several crafts, different shapes, and this is apparently, Buchanan's a pretty serious UFO hotspot. I had no idea. But there's also other weird things there. And when I saw this craft, I also saw a thing. I'm not quite sure what it was. I kind of called more to get some kind of clarity as to what the hell I saw.
Okay.
But it looked like a ship. Okay? It was very humanoid. I want to say, because it towered over me, I'm 5'6". I want to say it was maybe 7 feet tall or so. Incredibly skinny. It had pale skin that almost looked yellow, like a very light, thick yellow. I can't even explain it. And as I'm looking at it, I was scared half to death. Like, I thought, that's it, I'm dead. This thing is going to kill me. And then it started kind of changing. It like tried to hide, but as it was like moving away, it literally, the colors and the textures of the skin completely changed until all I saw was the outline of the body as it was moving. It was completely transparent, or it made itself transparent.
Wow.
And it was moving.
That's incredible.
And I could see where the light was bending around the person or the thing, but I know that it wasn't. It was transparent. It was completely see-through. Like, if it had stood still, I would not be able to tell it was in my area.
Wow, like the Predator, right?
I don't know. I don't really watch TV. I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, there's a series of movies that deal with, it's just science fiction, but I've heard that before, and I've seen a video online of somebody that's you can find it. It's Barb and Gabby. It's this lady that does Bigfoot research, and she's out and she captures some small creature, and it looks like about the size of a toddler, but you can only see that it's an outline of something. So it sounds like it's camouflaged in much the same way as you're describing, but pretty amazing.
The one thing that really, really kind of, impresses me in a very terrifying way is that for a person who spent their life outdoors, no longer will I go out after dark ever again.
Wow.
Like, I mean, this happened a couple of years, 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
Never again. Never again will I be out past dark. You just feel the just hate and the just nastiness off this thing. And the crowd was above me.
Ugh.
So I don't know if it's the same thing because aliens are portrayed as like short with big bulgy eyes.
Yeah.
The thing looked nothing like that.
Wow. Yeesh. I don't blame you. I mean, if I had not only the encounter above, but the encounter right in front of you as well, that's a whole lot of reality to suck in at once.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so
Yes,
much.
Absolutely crazy.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing those stories. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you guys answering my call.
Thank you. Anytime.
Welcome, yeah.
All right. Very cool.
Wow.
Okay. Let's go to the next call, and this is coming from Area code 732, you're on the air.
Oh, guys, it's Anishinaabe, and I come from the area of Lenape. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We had actually remembered that name as well. The Anishinaabe. Don remembered it. Yep.
Yes, and if you look at the Iroquois Confederacy and you ask, and they say, it is word for word the Constitution. Jefferson ripped it off. But what I wanted to say is about Bacon. Look at how big Kev Baker is, and then look at the classic Claymore sword. You guys know the pagans, and you know what the SCA is, right? The Society for Creative Anachronism.
Okay.
Come on, Don, you got to know it.
Yeah, I know
Don,
the SCA.
those
I used
guys
to hang out
run
with them.
around in people with clothing, but they have their Reeboks on, so therefore it is the anachronism.
It is.
It is. But all I could think about, because I went from selling to jewelry and helping my friends, and I had to pick up these huge swords, and I'm like 125 pounds, and my God, I think everyone's just shrunk. Maybe the Earth's mantle shrunk. I don't know, guys. That's all I got to say.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying it here.
I hope it makes you laugh. SCA, Society for Creative Anachronism. We were the first preppers. we were the ones who started. We were pre-Burning Man. We were the preppers of Burning Man out in the woods, Don.
Nice.
You guys have to know them. And I'm sure Lucky must. If you guys don't know each other, you should check out Society for Creative Anachronism.
We'll look into it.
If you like Forge and Fire, guys, check it out.
Very cool. Thank you. I appreciate you.
And everybody's kind of pagan, and it was the first communal thing. And we built like 30,000 people. We built a whole city, and there were people forging, and we actually had books.
Oh, cool.
Imagine that.
That's really cool.
Okay. All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you for the portal.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for being a part of it. Have a great night.
Happy travels.
See ya. That's wonderful. Awesome.
Yeah.
Some great calls to capitalize the end of the show. We're not quite done, though. We got a few minutes here. I'm not sure what we can do with it, though. Let's see. I got to look at my list here and see if I got something quick and easy.
I wonder if Paisley can pop on and tell us what the name of her show is going to be or what the topic is, because I am intrigued because I don't know what it is, and I should.
I can try to call her. Should I try to call her?
Oh no, because
Okay.
she's probably getting ready to put Mini-Me to bed.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Or she's getting ready to get on.
Gotcha. Well, I got a bunch of short stories here, and I'll probably cover more of them on Sunday's show. But it's an article coming from justforspooks.com, and it's 27 people share the creepiest things they witnessed on the high seas. Now, I should let you know that not all of these are paranormal. In fact, the first several aren't at all, but we can read through several of these before the end of the show, so let's do that. Again, this is the creepiest stuff these people have witnessed on the high seas. And, as any sailor's tale will tell you, there's lots of weirdness on the high seas. So let's see what this says. The first is, I've been on large container ships up and down the coast here, whenever you're in the middle of a storm, it's quite exciting. It's hard to describe the sea in the middle of a storm. The swells get huge and rough. And when lightning hits the sea, you see it light up a huge area and start to froth. The scariest, though, is being on the bridge in a trough between two swells and seeing the water rise up on either side of you like a wall.
I can imagine that.
Oh my God, that would be
scary as hell.
That would be horrifying.
Yes.
It's like, nah. All right, so number 2 on this list is, on the Pacific side of South America, I believe they were off the coast of Peru or Chile, can't quite remember. I was working night shifts, so I was out on the flight deck to watch the sun come up. Strangest damn thing I ever seen. The ocean was dead calm like a lake. Seriously, no ripples, no waves, just dead calm like you found a small pond in the mountains. It was completely undisturbed. The moon was bright in the sky as the sun had not yet begun to rise, but there was still a lot of light from it, and the moon made it feel all the more eerie. And besides the noise from the ship, it was completely silent. One of the weirdest experiences I've ever felt. So that's just the whole serenity of it. But number 3 is I was caught in an electrical storm while fishing. This was in Lake Ontario, running 8-foot graphite rods on downriggers, and I was standing on the deck watching the rods, and I noticed blue sparks start jumping from rod to rod. A split second later, lightning struck directly behind the boat, and was probably the loudest natural sound I will ever hear in my life. Yeah, that's like being like face to face with an explosion.
Yeah, and it's actually scientifically proven that the Earth actually sends out from the Earth to attract those. So that's what he was seeing was the
little thing going up to draw the charge down. Yep. That's true. All right, so here's one, number 4. The story is terrifying and awesome at the same time. I enjoy sailing and like to take long trips on my uncle's boat. We usually like to try to sail along the east or west coast of the U.S., but one year he was stationed in Japan, and I got the opportunity to travel to Japan. Great place to visit. I was sailing by the coast of Okinawa when a thunderstorm started up in the middle of the night. Strangely, the ocean was still, and the weather was giving us a wonderful light show. Lightning would strike the water and light up everything around us, and suddenly lightning struck near our boat, and we saw the most incredible sight, jellyfish. Jellyfish everywhere. They were not the usual jellyfish that you see around the U.S. These things were huge. The lightning would strike the water and these jellyfish would light up, and the ocean literally looked like it glowed purple and red that night.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, yeah, we're done. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. That's all we got time for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Take care. Good night.